Hello there, heart surfers. Hey, welcome to Healing Me Before We, a relationship reawakening podcast for couples who want to thrive. Hi there, heart surfers. Are you rolling on the waves of love and happiness, or are you standing on the rocks? We bring you a unique way of uncovering limiting beliefs about relationships through examining common uses of cliches. Relationship specialist Dan, the healing man, and myself, Sharon, the heart lady, are excited to share our views. And today we have our special guests, our very, very, very special guests, the Ingrams, Lakoya, and Jeff. And they are here with us to explore our cliche. Now, our last episode, we talked about till death do us part. And so we're going to continue that in that because we thought it was interesting. So, but let me make sure I say aloha to Dan, the healing man. How are you today, Dan?
I'm doing great, Sharon. Aloha to you, Sharon, and aloha to our special guests that have joined us today, Jeff and Nicoya. And this is why I say surfs up. It's our greeting to everyone that's joining us in our podcast, and including our heart surfers out there. Aloha to them as well, to all who are connected with us today.
And remind us what aloha stands for again, Dan.
Awareness, love, optimism, humor, action.
All right. And there we have it. And so we're going to go ahead right into it. Is that all right with you two? Look at this
Right with me.
They are so cute together. And so, Jeff and Lakoya, we, in our last episode, we were really exploring Till Death Do Us Part in marriage vows. And we were asking our viewers and our listeners what were their thoughts about that. And, Dan offered a really good perspective on Till Death Do Us Part. He would say, well, it depends on how you want to define death, because it may not be death in the human form, but it could be death of the love that you share. And I thought that was a fantastic definition. And so we don't have to stay there, but that is the premise and what we're talking about today with that cliche. But I'd just like to ask your opinion. What do you think about marriage vows in general, or that particular terminology, till death do us part?
Mm-hmm. We'll go first.
I think that what we know apparently is not always death that do us part.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's selfishness can do us part, because if you're selfish, arrogant, and stubborn, and not willing to change, it's tearing the relationship apart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a choice, right? So we have a choice that we're going to stay and be extremely unhappy and miserable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or we go our separate ways.
Yeah. So, Dan laughs because choice is his absolute favorite word. So when you said choice, you could see how he light up. He said, he likes you. Well,
Jeff and Nicoya, I'd like to ask you, do you remember your marriage vows from your own wedding ceremony?
Just
No.
Parts of it.
I remember the gist of it.
Right.
I guess what I'm asking you is, do you remember if you said in your vows, death till death do us part?
I remember saying that part.
You did say that. Okay.
So you had a traditional wedding.
That's kind of what we're talking about today, in terms of, when you make those kinds of promises to each other, that they're powerful, aren't they? You're saying, hey, we're going to stick together through, hell and high water, no matter what, because we're promising, this commitment of marriage to each other till death do us part.
Which is a hard road to follow. I was talking earlier in another episode how easy people these days just take marriage for granted. And as someone who coaches a lot of couples, they're like, well, just this week, someone said, well, they were arguing, and the wife called crying, and because the husband says, well, if you don't like it, just file the papers. Just nonchalant like that. I mean, a lot of us are not taking marriage um, as a commitment and as a partnership, and you just can't be throwing threats around like that because people take it to heart. So, what are your thoughts around marriage on the whole, and what advice would I don't even want to say advice. What suggestions and what tips can you give others? Because we don't give advice here in this program. We just give
Right.
and suggestions. People have the what, Dan? The
Choice. Well,
Yeah.
my word, Jeff and Nicoya, and I certainly want you to speak, is invitations, right? We give each other invitations for change.
Right.
If people are in a place of readiness to accept the invitation to change.
I agree. I like that.
I would want to think, the song said, ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. Whether you're ready or not, change is here. So
That's
if you decide to do differently, good. If not, then
Yeah. What do you?
I think that marriage is a vital component to life.
Ooh.
Marriage, not necessarily traditional marriage, but the commitment that two people have to weather the storms of life together, to be their partner. I see this as my partner through life. And I didn't know what I was signing up for, which no one does know.
Agree.
But I knew that I'm gonna have to deal with something from whoever I'm with. And I'd rather deal with what comes with her than anybody else. From at that point in the journey, we got married. I was 21 years old. 22, and we got married within the year that we met each other.
Ooh.
And so, but it was just something about her, something about the connection, something about her that I just knew within my soul that I'm supposed to walk through life with her. And she was my friend. We were friends. And so if anything, like I had a friend that I could walk through life with. Yeah. And as we grew a family, and it became even more important to have a friend to co-parent with, a friend to go through just life, the worst of times, the worst of things, to go through. I think it's important. It's vital to have someone. It's just in a society to have someone that there are a good amount of people navigating through life with someone that they're committed, that are committed to each other.
You said something and it helped me understand us even more. I think that, I was attracted to him, thank God, because I didn't want to settle, and I know he was attracted to me, but it was based on a friendship. It was not strongly on exterior stuff, although that helped, but that wasn't the main premise of us coming together. So we were friends. This is my friends. We talked about very personal things. And even when we got married and as we have kids, we realized I still need my friend. I don't want to lose my friendship.
Yeah.
So that's something that really helped us.
Yeah, I see that's very important. It sounds like you both shared relationship values and personal values that had really tied your relationship together. What do you think about today's, what have you heard in social media and your other friendships that you may have had, how lightly they take marriage? Because, number one reason for people break up is finances. So I'd love for you to speak about what are your thoughts around marriage today? Because it's a total different definition from way back in the 15th century when marriage really started taking a whole different form. So what do you think?
So it's kind of disheartening, and I I I have to keep my finger to the pulse of culture. So I intentionally consume to see what is going on, what the conversations are. Both sides, not just both sides, all 4 sides, all 8 sides, all.
Yeah.
It's so many sides of the same issue of going through life with somebody. Yeah. So many different sides. And there are so many people who are raised in homes that don't have a committed relationship at the core of the family, that they're just making up as they go. They don't have a model to go off of. It's not a lot of examples that are tangible that they can touch and see of a family.
Yeah.
And so because of it, we have all types of views and ideas about marriage and relationships, and they come from all these different skewed, unresolved. They have unresolved issues that they've grown up with, unhealed hurts, unmet needs, and they don't even know what they are, and expecting people to help heal those things when they actually sometimes don't even really want to be healed. Like, it's a whole lot going on.
Yeah, it's complicated. It is.
Wow.
I also think that it's important to be open and honest with each other and be able to have real conversations and be critical thinkers. Because when you're in a relationship, and a lot of times, let's say, for example, someone, when you go into marriage, and again, you're new to it, and you're just going off of what mama them told you or daddy them told you. But most of the time, it's mama and grandmama them told you. But the issue, if you didn't observe, they told you this stuff, but all of them are single and miserable. You're taking that advice, and I can guarantee you, down the road, you're going to be single and miserable too.
Wow, that's a mouthful and very, very true. I think that both of you hit it on the point there, that a lot of the young folks don't have good models of what a healthy relationship looks like. And when they're looking at these reality shows that don't exemplify a healthy relationship. And so this is why they're so quick to say, well, file the papers, or let's get divorced, or move out, or, let me leave, or, this is mine, this is yours type thing. So I thank you for that. Let me throw a hard one to you. What if your 18-year-old said, I'm ready to get married?
Well, I had a conversation of someone saying that they're contemplating. So yeah, I love nice young lady. My encouragement for him was, where are you in your journey? How are you going to sustain yourself? Like, one thing I think in the marriage vow that I would change, it's so much about the other person, but the individual is not promising to become their best self, and they're not promising to continue to grow and continue to be coachable. And so you make it all about what you're doing for the other person. But if you're not dealing with your own issues, and if that person's triggering something with you, they're going to catch hell.
Now you're speaking
well,
out.
I think you're making a great point, you guys, when you talk about, you have to have an understanding, first off, of who I am.
Yes.
Before you can go and get into a relationship with someone else.
Yes.
And more often than not, at the age of 18, people haven't really come to that place of knowing themselves enough to be able to get into a relationship with someone else. I mean, 18, let alone 30. let's say,
Yeah.
today,
Right.
especially for males, right? Because we already know that males grow up later today than they have before.
Yeah.
And so that's why I stress, and Sharon and I agree on this whole idea of me before we. It's not an exclusiveness. It's not a selfish kind of me before we. It's a getting to know me first so that
Yes.
I can bring that understanding of myself into my friendship, into my relationship with my significant other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd like to add, if it didn't happen that way, there is hope. You know why? Because I didn't fully know myself when we came into it, and there were some areas that I was completely in denial, and it caused issues with our marriage for both of us. Things that he didn't see about himself, things that I didn't see about myself, and I was adamant in some ways, because if you don't see and admit something about yourself, that means you're in an illusion about yourself.
Yeah.
You're not being true to yourself. So that's why I'm one that I don't quote the fake it till you make it. Let's stop that movement. Do not fake it, because you can fake so long that you don't even know who you are and you're lying to yourself, which is very dangerous.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it's not too late. When we realized that, I had to humble myself and have the conversations and apologize. I started to look back and see areas where he told me certain things and I was in denial, and I had to apologize. If you love somebody and you're desiring to keep a relationship, then you have to grow up and take ownership of your actions. And so there's hope. If you didn't start off right and you got married and it isn't working out, if you're willing to save it, you have to have the real conversations and be willing to change and put in the work.
And so
And
I heard you say that your bond is your friendship with each other.
yeah.
Yes.
And so how important that is, right? Because sometimes people get into a physical relationship first, and then they don't allow that relationship to expand beyond that. That becomes the focus of the relationship. And I'm hearing you say, we are friends. We made our marriage based upon our friendship over our physical attractiveness to each other. Not to leave that component out, because we know that that's an important piece that brings people together, right? You're attracted to one another.
Right.
And
8 years later.
you were something?
Yeah.
You were going to say something?
Yeah. I was thinking about, with the young people when they move out and kind of move in together. I realized that they don't usually do it with the motive of building a healthy relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's, I want to move out on my own, and they want to move out on their own, and we already together, and so we can split the bills together, and we already got something going on anyway, so this will kind of be, in essence, I don't know if it's directly or indirectly, but it becomes like a pit stop, like an ongoing, like a lease.
Mm-hmm.
Now people lease vehicles. It's never
That's deep.
like a real life commitment to that vehicle. We already know it's going to be a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much time it's going to be, but we're going to ride it until we feel that it's over. Versus, you know what, we're building something and building and with the intention for it to be, as Simon Sinek calls it, the infinite game. To play the infinite game, to be in it as long as possible, versus just being the win, just win, just get the quick, easy wins. But really, is this somebody worth my time? Is somebody worth building and growing with? But again, they're not thinking about 2, 3 years, 5 years down the road. A lot of times, because they don't have even an example of somebody that's done it at all anyway. So the bar that they're aiming at is, hey, maybe a year or two, or maybe, it kind of just is real fuzzy. And if it goes beyond that, kind of see what happens when we go past that hazy space and time. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe we'll get on the other side of it. Maybe we'll just kind of go into it like that.
The metaphor that she uses made me think a little bit further when you said it's like a lease. When you're leasing a car, you lease the car. First you get attracted. Oh, I like that car, so I'm going to drive that car. But you don't own the car, and then maybe after a couple of months, you decide to change the car again, change the color, and you keep on. And it's like, well, are you going to keep on driving that car with the intention of buying the car? Kind of trying it out. And some decide to, oh, well, I'm going to lease this car until the mileage has run out. And now I'm going to have to take it and change it again. And maybe I won't get a BMW this time. Maybe,
exactly.
I'll get a different Mercedes or something, and they keep on trying and not really with the intention that you bought this car.
My apologies. We'll have to. My dog is responding to the plow in our northern territory. I apologize for that.
So, no problem. So, this is live, y'all. So,
Nice.
This is my partnership with my wife. She's just coming back from the store. And I love how you guys talk about, building something together, right? And so, as you said, so in your metaphor of the lease of the car, right? A relationship, a partnership for life isn't a lease. It's a commitment to each other. And it's also, though, ironically, though, there is a renewal in that commitment.
True.
Because sometimes you can start out on a lease on a car, and then you decide that you want to buy the car.
Right.
Continue to lease it or lease another car. And so now you're at a place of readiness to say, okay, I'm going to buy this car. And similarly, you're in a place of readiness to say to one another, I'm in a place of readiness to be committed to you in this relationship.
That's right. And every car needs maintenance. So with that being said, what do you two do for maintenance in your relationship?
Oh.
Date night.
I love the fact that you have conversations, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, because how we've grown is, I believe there's some truth in the different signs. So me being a Capricorn, I'm not good at like playing around in front. If I like you, I like you. If I don't like you, I'll still say, hey, but I just understand we just not the crowd to be here, With him, with my marriage, the last thing I want to do is fake my marriage. I don't have time for it. It doesn't make sense to me. Either we're going to grow and we're going to have some real conversation. And sometimes it may sound brutal to other people, but it's like, when you do that, I don't like that. And this is why I don't like that. Because da-da-da-da-da. And we give reasons. I'll explain it. And for example, there's certain things that he would tell me. And if I wasn't mature enough at the time, he would have to repeat it again. But the more unselfish I became, then it just registered like, he doesn't like when you do that. And so now I'm changing and I'm showing him more respect.
Well, you said something, and a term that I've heard is you are radically honest with each other in a way that's truthful, right? You're not going to, put flowers on it. You're going to be truthful with each other. And sometimes in that willingness to be truthful, the other person may feel hurt. That's a possibility. Or we may hurt the other person in what we say to them. And that's where we have to give ourselves permission, what I call permission, to have compassion for ourselves in our willingness to be truthful. It can also be hurtful. True. And if we're allowing ourselves to be that kind of vulnerable selves in the relationship with each other, it gives each person in that relationship an opportunity to be that true and authentic person.
Yeah, and it really takes maturity. It takes time, and it takes time. It takes time.
Patience
and trust,
because
it comes with trust too.
Yes, Trust comes with time.
True.
And true trust. Because you have like a surface, but you always kind of have a preliminary, kind of a shell that's in essence supposed to get you so far, almost even like a rocket, like a spaceship. One level of the boosters go so far, then if all there's another set to take it to the next level of it. And so just with time and experiences together really show how much there can be trust. Sometimes the trust isn't even necessarily about another person, it's about trusting one can trust themselves. And so it takes time for that person to trust themselves. Sometimes it takes experiences to really to know really even how far to trust oneself, how far to trust another oneself. So here's a word I like: expectations. To actually have realistic expectations, so trust isn't broken, right? To know what to expect, so that I like you have a dog. It sounds like you have a dog, right? And to expect to have a dog and to not take the dog outside all day, there's only so much you can really expect of the dog. Yeah. So it's unrealistic for by 6 p.m. if the dog uses the bathroom in the house, so to have realistic expectations.
To expect the dog to be quiet during the podcast.
And sometimes our expectations come from a place that is, again, broken place, unhealed places, fantasy places,
comparisons.
And so those expectations usually are a big contributor to mistrust, even with oneself. But then even that partner that they're going through life with, it can be not trusting other people. So you can have trust within yourself, but then other people. And so then that can cause it's a lot of layers, but time weathers all of that down to where you could really see what is really, really there after all is said and done. But you can't get that in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years.
Wow.
So you're saying it's an investment.
Oh,
and a lot of that investment of time. And it's important to recognize, I agree with you, that time is a factor. Now, how much of a factor, I think, depends on every relationship, right? How much time. It's a willingness to be committed to each other in a place that you are willing to be vulnerable with each other. And maybe that vulnerability is what develops over time. As you said before, right? That you trust that other person so that you can be vulnerable with them and to share your true self with them without fear of that person rejecting you.
Right.
That's it. That's exactly the part. Without fear of being attacked, rejected, or attacked,
judged.
Or taken advantage of in a way, and it be used against you. That's something that I dealt with, is the time to where how much can I trust that I can really show my true self and know that it's safe here. That this is like, how actual safe is this person, is this relationship, is this how much is it? And to know that okay, I can be at my worst, I can show them my worst, they can know my worst, my deepest, darkest, and I won't be attacked. I won't be, again, rejected. I won't be, the script won't flip. Like it would still be love for me. Yeah. You still want to be my friend. Yeah. Still want to be my partner through life. Yeah. Still want to do that. It takes time. It's taking time. Yeah. For me to build that kind of trust in our relationship and what we have.
And one of the other fears is that when you do become that vulnerable and you share something that, a trigger, or share something that's a painful experience, that's not thrown back at you later on.
Right.
Right. I get that, where, you created a safe place, and I would never throw that back in your face and make that wound even wider. So we're going to take a quick commercial break that is sponsored by I Create International. And so we're going to play our little jingle for you, and we're going to ask our sponsors to go ahead and tell us a little bit more about their product. All right. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. And Jeff.
Well, it's such an honor to be here. And I Create International is a personal and organizational development agency. It specializes in helping growth-oriented, family-oriented professionals, creators, entrepreneurs, and organizations maintain healthy, thriving businesses and organizations while maintaining healthy work-life harmony at the same time. So we create tools, systems, programs that are necessary to help people through their journey of successfully maintaining a personal life that's healthy while growing a healthy, thriving relationships and organization.
Jeff.
So several programs. We have worked with several coaches. Nicole and I are both certified coaches. We work with certified life coaches as well, and creating a community that fosters the growth of people that are growing businesses and organizations.
Jeff, can you give us one highlight of one of your tools and how it will help, say, an entrepreneur or a coach?
Sure. Our favorite right now is was something we've been working on the past 3 years. It is a software tool that streamlines and automates communications for small businesses. And it's been amazing to work on it because we ourselves, being small business owners, communication is the lifeline of a business or a relationship. Every relationship is built on communication. If it's a client relationship, customer relationship, team relationship, communication is key. And because of the world we live in, communication goes in so many ways, and there's so many places to go and so many tools and platforms and places where people are. It becomes expensive of time-wise and money-wise. And we were looking for a solution. We connected with some developers that has some amazing software, and we created a tool that streamlines and puts automations in place so that you can communicate with the team, with colleagues, with potential customers, everything all in one place, and makes it simple so you have time to spend with your family, with your boo. Like I go spend with my boo to help make it way better. So that's an amazing tool we've been working on, and we are now ready to release it to the world. And so, that's.
Well, you guys had me hooked when you talked about thriving, right? Because most people are settling in relationships to survive. And
That's right.
The idea of till death do us part often leads me to surviving, right? You survive to the end with each other instead of really looking at your relationship as an opportunity every day to thrive and to have fun and to laugh with each other.
Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna change the one of the cliches that we hear. That's my ride or die. That's my ride or thrive.
Right, I like that. I like that.
Yes.
All right, but we really want to thank you so much. This could just go on for a long time, but we respect we respect your time and our listeners and viewers' time, and we're hoping that you like our new platform as we bring guests in from time to time to share on their thoughts about Till Death Do You Part. So you've heard the Ingrams, how they talk about it's about a commitment. And Nicoya said it's about having that foundation of a friendship. And when I hear how passionate she talks about friendship, all in my mind, how she was talking was about the respect that you have for one another. And that's what, I took away from that, is that you can see they have a commitment and a respect for each other. And they also said our favorite keywords, making sure that they're taking care of themselves first so that they can bring 100% to their relationship. And when they see that they may be lacking in an area, they have a conversation around it. Now, sometimes the conversation, it may not be what you want to hear, but they also find a way to ease the pain, apologize, have fun together, and go back to what? We have a friendship, we have a commitment, and that's what we're sticking by. And they believe in not only their higher self, but they believe in a creator that is the force that keeps them together. And so, thank you so much, Jeff and LaCoya.
Thank you.
Paul.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
It's an honor to be the first couple. And it's an
Yes.
honor to be your favorite couple.
Right.
You work with a whole lot of couples.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with that being said, we remind our listeners and viewers that me before we, and it's about reawakening your relationship and allowing your relationship to thrive. And as I said in the last episode, sometimes it's not about the person, it's about the situation. Can we heal and work on the situation and not talk about we're not going to be together because you didn't like the situation? Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, then. Thank you all so much, and y'all have an absolutely wonderful week and look forward.
Thanks so much, Jeff and Nicole. I appreciate your time and sharing your experiences in your marriage with us today. Appreciate it. Surf's up, everybody.